This is a super easy winter watercolor project that anyone can do. Pause the video for the supply list that's posted. You can use any type of watercolors, and this is going to be a super speed going through what I did to create this little landscape with the light behind the trees. I mixed a blue and gray, and I radiated my watercolors inward with the lightest part being in the middle and the darkest on the outside. You can really use any color for this, but I used a Prussian blue and a little bit of gray, and that is it. I kept it really simple. I just used about 3 colors, counting what I used for the trees, and I'm beginning to radiate inwards. I'm adding more and more color, but I'm keeping the middle really light. And when I'm done with this, I'm going to sprinkle some salt on it, and it gives it a really cool texture. You do have to remember that you need to let it completely dry and wipe your salt off really, really well when it is dry. You can't paint on top of it until the salt is all off of it. So I used a paintbrush to brush it off. Then I started to paint the trees, and I'm just using a really light hand. Some parts are going to be lighter than others, and I vary the trees. The ones in the background are going to be lighter. That means adding more water to my color. The ones in the front are going to be darker. And remember, when you're painting little tiny branches of trees, you want to be barely touching your paper with your brush. Sorry that my left hand is blocking this. I can't help being left-handed. You want to just barely touch the paper with the tip of your brush, and it's just kind of like a scribbly little lines of the branches. Look at a real tree and see how the branches kind of go out and up. And then at the bottom, I kind of created like a ground by just making some blobs of color. And again, I'm using these same colors, but I'm varying the value. So some of the trees are lighter and some are darker, and that is what makes it a little bit more interesting. I'm moving pretty quickly. I want to make sure that I get everything blended. And if you're not very fast at painting, you can just work in layers. You can paint a layer and then let it dry and paint another layer. And I do fade out the trees in the background a little bit. As you can see, they're kind of faded out. The ones in the front are darker. You can add as many trees as you want, but leave a little bit of space in between them. And when I'm done with this tree, that is going to be the finished product. It's really easy and fun, and the more you practice, the better you will get. The next step is to add the snow. I am using gouache, but you can use white acrylic, you can use a white paint pen, you can even use whiteout. And I mixed my gouache with a little bit of water, and I just tapped it on with a paintbrush. And if it made a blob that was too big, I'm just gonna wipe it up with a paper towel. I wanna make sure that my little paint spots are a little tiny. And I have a couple of big ones I had to wipe up, but you can also draw some on with a paintbrush, which is what I did. And then you wait for it to dry, wipe up your paint mess, and take your tape off, and you have your finished project.